Hey there, welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel. In this video, we're going to talk about roleplay. Now, there's lots of different topics here within the topic of roleplay. I mean, they're role-playing games, right? But what I'm going to talk about really is two different styles of roleplay and how I use them and how you could use them. This is going to be both for players and DMs. So, if you're either one of those two, then buckle up. So, there's two kind of ways or styles of roleplay. One is speaking in voice, and the other one is narrating what your character does. Now, when I say in voice, I don't necessarily mean like making a voice like, or you could do that, and that's cool. Those are my voices. And people that can do awesome voices, yeah, awesome. But what I mean is speaking as the character, right? So if you are, let's say, a DM and the party walks into a tavern, you could say, you walk into the tavern, you see a handsome man, tall, finely shaven behind the bar in elegant clothes, and he says, "Welcome, adventurers, have you come for the hunt?" Or you could, as a DM, do that same intro and then just say, "The barkeep served you some drinks and asked you if you are here for the hunt." So by having the two different ways, right, so speaking in character and speaking just narratively, we could establish a couple of things. Number one, and the most important thing in my mind, is how important this character is. I talked about this in my video about describing rooms and stuff in dungeons. If you speak in character with every single person that the party interacts with, then that means to them, they will not be able to distinguish who is important. And that might be fine. And in some games, that is fine, right? But in a typical D&D-ish type game where you're in a town, you're going to interact with a lot of people. And if you're not kind of driving the plot forward with kind of like a storyline, then they're going to interact with random people that they just see. Somebody from the party might be like, "I want to go to the blacksmith." So the blacksmith might not be important at all, but if you now put a lot of emphasis on the blacksmith by doing an awesome voice and you make it all, this thing, then the player might think, "Whoa, what's going on with this blacksmith?" But if you just say, "Oh, well, what do you need at the blacksmith?" "Well, I want to get some new horseshoes." "Okay, well, you go to the blacksmith. He tells you he can shoe your horse. It will take a day or so. It's going to cost you 5 gold pieces." "Okay, I do that." Boom, back to the rest of the adventure. This then tells us that the blacksmith is not that important as far as the adventure goes, right? It's kind of helping to steer the players to the stuff that actually has relevance. You see that meme all the time, like, NPC the DM made up 5 seconds ago and every player's like over him and then the big boss is over here. That's because you put too much emphasis on that NPC. If you're playing, especially if you're playing a one-shot or something that you want to accomplish in a single session, which maybe is another video where we could talk about the difference between like short, like one-shots and campaign type style, because you definitely play differently. Let me know if you're interested in that in the comments below. But if let's say that the mission is you've been sent by the Duke, or the Duke has put a reward out for wolf pelts because wolves are rampant in this area and they've been attacking the sheep herds. So any wolf pelt you bring back, they're going to give you 20 gold pieces for, or whatever it is. So you're going to go, you're heading out to this area to basically go hunt some wolves. So you want to get that information. Now there might be, let's see, there's actually a werewolf, right? Or something like that, right? That's what's going on. Now, that might be something. So if you want to make sure that the players kind of go in the right direction, you want to make sure that the people that are relevant are speaking so they remember that. So, and I'm not just making this up because, I don't just, I'm probably making up a lot of stuff, but if we go back, because it wouldn't be a Bandit's Keep video without, to the Mulvey Basic book here, and take a look at how they handle the role play. Okay, this is just an excerpt. If you want to see the entire example of play where I go through the whole thing, there's a link. I'll put a link in the description below, but basically, they've come down this corridor, there's been some wind and stuff, and then the DM says, "After 30 feet, there's a side passage to the south, 10 feet wide. The main corridor continues west. You notice the breeze is stronger, and your torches are beginning to flicker even more. Frederick, I don't like this." Speaking in character. Dougal, "You've got information." Speaking in character. Morgan, "We'll take the side passage." She's just telling the DM what she's going to do. She doesn't turn to the party and say, "Hey, let's go outside." She just says what we're going to do. "Okay, at 50 feet, you find doors to the east and west. The passage continues south." Morgan, "Silverleaf, Fred, and Black Dougal will listen at the west door." Again, no conversation, no speaking in character. She's just saying this is what they're doing. Now, you might be asking, why is Morgan doing this? Because but that's because they're using a caller, and if you watch the other video, you'll understand that. But essentially, they're not having a conversation here. It's not important that they have a conversation about, hey, Black Dougal, listen at the door. It's just Black Dougal's listening at the door. You don't need to go through the entire process of role-playing that. And again, that helps you have a good ebb and flow in the process. So I'm curious what people think about this. I can definitely do more videos on roleplay if you were interested in that, but what I will say is this. Generally, to summarize, if something is important as a DM, that if an NPC is important or what they're going to say is important, try to do it in voice. If it's not important or it's just general information, don't do it in voice. And again, you don't have to do the entire thing in voice. You set them up that way. So you might have the barkeep start talking like that, but then after they have an exchange back and forth, you can say, okay, well, you talk to them for a few minutes and you get this rumor, right? You don't have to do the whole thing that way if you're not comfortable always doing the role play. Also, if you're new to the DM and you want to make notes for yourself, that's also a good way to do it. It's easy, right? To fall into a way of doing one or the other. It's what I mean. It's like it's easy to just do one way or the other. But I think if you get this combination of both, you'll really get a kind of a smoother flow going. So anyways, as always, let me know what you think. Put some comments down below. How do you guys do it? Do you always speak in voice? Do you not speak in voice? Do you prefer one way or the other? How do you guys like to handle roleplay in your role-playing games? Or is there a third way that I didn't mention? Go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell to notifications, and I'll see you next time.